So good morning to everyone in Europe and good afternoon to people farther in the East. The topic today is giving you, or the idea today is to give you as our users a first glance of our most up-to-date roasting intelligence, RI4, which is the central tool that you're using day in and out for your roast production. And we would just like to give you an idea of what's coming, what we plan, what's out there, how you can get it, and of course, invite you to ask questions. So before we begin, we're pretty new to webinar, so it's our second one. I'm not sure if some of you guys have joined the Getting Starter, Crops to Roast Starter webinar with my colleague Devin. I will send you a link for that either way, so you can check it out on YouTube. But still, we're pretty new to this tool, so some important details for you to understand the flow of what we're doing here. First, please note you're in listen-only mode. We might change that in the future, but for now, what you can do is use the questions section to submit questions. As I said, my colleague Jonas will consolidate them for me. We're new to webinars, so if there's any bumps or hiccups, apologies. We still hope you have a great experience. Then also the RI4 beta is also new. It's also new to us. The tool itself is still being developed. So please understand if some actions and explanations are not yet at 100%. Again, we pick up all your questions and we'll, of course, get back to you. As I said, use the question window to submit them. And we will answer them towards the end of the webinar, so we can consolidate questions that came in multiple times. And questions that we don't have the time for or cannot get back to you right now, we will reach out to you via email afterwards. If you have any technical issues, please also use the questions window. On those things, we try to respond as quickly as possible to make sure you have a good experience watching this webinar. And of course, since Roasting Intelligence 4 is brand new, we would like to invite you to provide feedback on the product. After the webinar, you will be prompted to join a very quick and easy survey where you can share your thoughts with us. And of course, also how you found this webinar, which other webinar topics you would like to go through. So now, let's jump in. Let me give you a quick idea on what we plan to discuss today. So first, a little bit of an introduction on how we got here, looking at the past years of roasting intelligence, go through the roasting intelligence as you know it today, and provide you with some reasonings why and how we built roasting intelligence 4. Then the main part will, of course, be the walkthrough of what is new. I thought I will just begin by some administrative parts, preferences, setup, and support, tell you what's new there, and then go through the natural flow of a roast. So preparing a roast, take a thorough look at that screen and what is new there, with some focus on the updated scheduling window and functionality. And then, of course, we will just jump into a roast. We will have a look at the new way of setting comments, modulation charts, which hopefully many of you guys already know from within Cropster Caesar, where you can see them. They now have found their way into the roasting intelligence, which is fantastic. And some information on the rate of rise calculation, of which we have updated as well. And then I thought I'm gonna anticipate a couple of your questions. So talking about the availabilities of Roasting Intelligence 4 and a few other details. And then, of course, we have the rest of what is left from that hour to discuss your questions. So let's jump right in and begin with a little bit of a historical recap. I'll try to be short, but I still think it's interesting for you guys to know how we arrived here. So roasting intelligence, the first ideas emerged 6 or actually 7 years ago, when we were still when we were still focused on a platform to support people at origin, which we still do, but roasters approached us and said, hey, this platform is actually useful for the supply chain for us as roasters as well, which is where the first thoughts to build a roasting client came up. And right from the beginning, we built this tool alongside with the roasters in the roasteries. So we spent weeks in roasteries to learn about the workflows, to learn about what is important, which information is key in a roastery at the roasting floor. And the focus got pretty clear right from the beginning. So we wanted to build a roast client tool that is clean, that focuses on the information that is important to the roaster, to the production manager, to track that as automatically as possible, and then integrate this directly with our well-known backend solution, Cropster Caesar, so that the roasting data does not exist as an island, but is integrated with green coffee, quality control, and many other things that are so vital in every roastery. Moving further, I think we were able to build a roast client with a couple of important adjectives to it. So it is always very, very key and essential for us to provide a 100% reliable professional tool. You guys are working in a busy production environment. There is no space for errors, downtime. You're tracking very important information, so it is at the very heart of our development to make a rock solid tool that is always up and working. We have proven to provide one of the most accurate, if not the most accurate, tracking system out there, which has been proven as many of the world's best roasteries are using our tool. So they need this accuracy. It is very clean, so we don't want to distract you. We want to provide an overview that is very, very focused on what is important to you. The tool must be universally connectable. It's also one of our promises, which means no matter what roasting machine you have, we will be able to connect to it. Now there have emerged different ways to do that, but this is a very core benefit of the roasting intelligence, that no matter how your roast machine setup is, we can get the roasting data into your Cropster account and collect it for you. Roasting intelligence, as we're a professional service, we want it to be easy to set up. Of course, that's part of our service, that we help you with that and help you understand to use it. Over the years, the roasting intelligence has been stress tested in many, many roasteries around the globe, different time zones, different businesses, and is also at the heart of many, if not all, SCA roasting competitions, which is, as you know, a hectic environment. So this proves the reliability of our tool. And as we speak, we are integrating more machines in a plug and play way. So some of you guys will have the roasting intelligence connected using our Cropster connector hardware. Some of you will already work with a plug and play connection. There's a good chance that you do that. And we add more machines almost in a regular fashion. I don't want to say every day, but in a regular fashion. And now, as you've seen, Cropster Caesar, the backend system has evolved quite a lot over the past year. We've migrated to a new technology. With the migration to a new technology, we moved to a new, cleaner design, simply to provide for two things. The technology move was to allow for further developments down the road that, based on your feedback, we have planned. And alongside, we updated the design so that every click, every move, every workflow is as smooth and easy as possible. Visualization is clear and easy, and the tool is easy to use for both experts and novices alike. So now we took this design and moved it over to the roasting intelligence, which was the main focus in this first version of the roasting intelligence that we will see today. I hope I should be pretty clear from the first slide on. And then again, this design, this first version of the roasting intelligence 4 is the foundation for many future things to come. So this design and this upgrade allows us to work on further functionality that we have planned. And yeah, we're excited to hear your feedback on it. So now, from the history, let's come to the present. And before we go into roasting intelligence 4, I still want to bring up the RI3 that you're currently using, just to give you like a visual comparison of what the differences are right from the spot. So as you know, RI3 here to the left, you will find I'm here in the prepare roasting screen. As you guys know, here to the left, you would select your roasting profiles, green coffee components, and workers. As you know, you can preset this up in Caesar. But here at the bottom, there is this real estate, which we now have made better use of. Here to the right, you found the reference information. Take a look at the curves and things like that. And the start roasting button was here to the right. Temperatures up here on top. And during a roast, this is what you will still see. So the main thing to bear in mind right now for you guys to compare against Roasting Intelligence 4 is, apart from the general design look and feel, is that the comment section lived, I want to say, here to the right. Temperatures are here on top, and the stop and abort buttons are here to the right, which I think, based on feedback, was still always a great and workable solution, but that doesn't say that it has been perfect. And over the past months, actually almost a year ago, we started to collect feedback and get in touch with our most proactive users, beta testers, roasteries around the globe, and collect feedback on how would the perfect world would look like. And our fantastic design department collected this information, and together with our development department, work now on this Roasting Intelligence 4, and we now are happy to provide you this following view on the Roasting Intelligence 4. So this is probably for you guys all the first time that you see this, unless you've been at SCA in Seattle, where you had a chance to review this. As you can clearly see, I would say the thing that pops up right away is the clear and easy and slick design. So lines have been smoothed. The overview is much clearer. Distractions have moved away where they were not maybe necessary, and the chart is clearly in the focus. So of course, for you guys, the most important information is and will be the roasting curve. So this is front and center and will take most of the real estate space in the RI4, and this is at the very center of this new design. Also, you will notice that the comment section to the right, as opposed to Roasting Intelligence 4, has shrunk or gotten, I would say, a little bit more in the background, but for the better. So you will see here are some inserts for gas and air comments, much smaller, but you see there are already preset entries in there. I will then walk you through on why this is. Temperatures have moved down here to the bottom to make better use of the real estate. The duration is down here in big letters. This information, this hard value information, is always very clear and highlighted. And here at the bottom, you will find the main buttons to use. So following known design patterns and things that just work by how human behavior is. We brought all the action buttons, we highlighted them, and we chose to create a design which follows basically a media player. So if you guys are using Spotify or any sort of desktop media player, they will always have the action buttons here in the middle, which is basically a similar behavior pattern during roasting. And here there are some interesting buttons to the right and some profile information here to the bottom left. But yeah, let's not look at the static screen. Let's jump into the actual roasting intelligence. So for that, I will open this. Sorry for that. And so, welcome. So this is the new Roasting Intelligence 4, operationally as installed on my computer. And we are right now looking at the prepare roasting screen. As you can clearly see, it's already different from what we've seen before in RI3. And I think to begin with, I just want to give you a quick overview on what is different, just for you to find your way around. So instead of having the entry fields for profile, green inventory, and workers to the left with real estate lost at the bottom, we moved them to the very top, because this is coming into this new screen. This is the first thing that you will want to do. So you look at this information and can update it right away here on top. As many of you guys will know, we recommend everybody who sets up a profile to assign the green coffee right away with it, because then all you have to do is select the profile and the green coffee will be selected for you. Then here at the bottom, so first, I think the sections are highlighted much more clearly. So here it says next roast. This is exactly what you are supposed to be selecting here, information about the next roast. Then here we have a section called profile information, which is similar to what you've been used to, but it's presented in a much more comprehensive way. And it has basically three sections. One being statistics, curve, and quality. So for us, it was very important to give you a clear overview of what you are supposed to be doing with the next roast. This information has always lived also in RI3, but I think it's much more comprehensive and complete. So foremost, you will find the reference roast information here to the left. But also there is a clear highlighted section on goals. So for those of you who are using a drops the roast package, roast plus or professional or above. You will have roast goals enabled, which is basically a fantastic tool to set up a frame around a roast profile. So give allowance on the borders within which you want a roast to happen. Can be duration of the roast, can be temperatures, can be rate of rise. And those tools you will have visualized here. So basically, you know, this is the maximum allowance within which I'm supposed to operate with this roast. And yeah, you should be watching this space because we have further plans with making roast goals even more prominent in the future. Here to the right, as usual, you have your profile comments. So the information, the reference information that you collected, and temperature and anything that goes on live in the drum happens here at the bottom right as opposed to the top right in the past. Then we have a curve section here, which you already know. There should be a curve appearing. Anyway, well, this is new. I will check on this later on. But this is the curve as you knew it. This is your reference roast, and it should pull this information. Maybe I should just do an update as I made a quick change before the webinar. What's important is that you can adjust how you look at the screen. So if you find it more important to look at the curve, you can improve your view on this. And then there is a quality tab. I can click on it. There is no information on this tab as of yet, but you should also watch this space. So we provided this little section. As you know, it's our promise to always give you comprehensive information about the three most important pillars in a roastery, which is green coffee information, the processing, which is the roasting process, and then quality control. So what is the result in the cup? Now, in this quality section, we plan to give you information on the green coffee quality, moisture, density, and further information, and other quality information. So this is basically the baseline of the raw product that you're dealing with. So you have that at hand when you, for example, create a new profile and have this available there. Good. Right. So if you see me looking down at the bottom, I have my little cheat sheets there to make sure I don't forget about anything. So far, this is the real estate and the explanation of how the design itself has changed, but you also see a couple of new things popping up. So one thing that I would like to, it's maybe a question I would like to anticipate right up front is how will we roll out Roasting Intelligence 4? Will it immediately replace RI3? What happens if I don't feel comfortable right from the start, or like those kind of questions? This is also the first thing that is very different. So far, you have always received a proactive update on the Roasting Intelligence with every update to replace the one before, the version before. Right now with Roasting Intelligence 4, as the design is so critically different, designed to improve workflows, but as part of this, it will change workflows. We decided to move to a different pattern and let the Roasting Intelligence 4 exist in parallel to RI3, which means you can, once we roll it out, and I will have more information on that later on, you can opt into RI4, test it out, and if you don't feel yet 100% comfortable, or have a team member that is new to RI4 and they feel in a busy production schedule more comfortable with RI3, you can swap back during that rollout time at least. And why am I saying this? Because if you choose to join the RI4 roasteries out there, your setups, your preferences, your settings will be migrated automatically from the RI3 settings that you are currently using. So your chart settings, your machine settings, they will be moved automatically in the Roasting Intelligence 4 to make the, I would say, the fade-in as easy as possible for you. Good, then what else do we find here? You have here at the bottom a couple of new buttons, as I already showed before. So it says feedback, updates, and production. So let's go through them one by one. As we are a professional service provider, we want to make sure that whenever you have a question, feedback, or you need support, that you can expect us to get back to you as quickly as possible. And sometimes if you, I don't know, if some question comes up or some, I don't know, you download the Roasting Intelligence to a new computer and something is not as expected for whatever reason, then you might have questions that need to be addressed. For us to be able to help you, we need specific information, and the Roasting Intelligence in the background is storing a so-called RI log, which stores the technical parameters of the Roasting Intelligence and tells us about your setup so we can support you within a shorter checklist of things to look at. To make this easier for you, there is now this feedback button here at the bottom left. And a window will pop up and it says submit a support ticket. Hopefully many of you guys are familiar with our support base, which you can access among others through clicking help here and go to online help. But this button here, what you can do is basically, and I will just pretend to do so, submit a support ticket on whatever you have in your chest. So this is a test support ticket and text. And it says it at the bottom, your log files will be automatically attached to provide additional technical information related directly to your feedback. So alongside, when I hit submit, it says support ticket created, and you can find them via the main menu on help support tickets. So you can review the status of those. Now let's do that and see if this works. So I go to help, support tickets, it opens a new window, and there we go. This is a test support ticket. You're forwarded to our support base, and it includes the RI log, which gives us a quicker, better way to answer technical questions that might come up. So this is one thing. Then you find the there is an updates button. Hopefully many of you guys are following our social media channels on Instagram, Facebook, but we also have a great website with release information, news about events and stuff like that. If you're wondering where is Grubster around these days or what has been released recently, you can always use this updates button and you will be prompted to our website. And I just have to pull this over from my second screen. So here, for example, you see that there has been a release on stock level alerts, something you will love, I'm pretty sure. So this is some release information, but you will also find information about our events and other things. So check out this space. And then, and this is probably one button where we should spend a little bit more time on, which is the this production item down there. When I click on it, a window will pop up, and some of you guys will be familiar with our scheduling functionality. So you have always been able to schedule your roasting day out of Cropster Caesar and push this information down to the roasting intelligence, so you have it at the roasting floor and know at all times what you're supposed to be roasting, and automatically load this information into the roasting intelligence. We did a lot of updates on this in the past years, but what is new here and what we want to provide you with here is a quick and easy way to see what you're supposed to be roasting. Now, I don't have anything scheduled yet because I want to do this with you. But what you can already see is that you will be able to see how many batches in general you're supposed to be roasting, how many have been roasted, and what is left. As we're still in the beta phase, we've, for example, gotten feedback from our beta testers to update the terminology on those to make it even clearer. So this is something that might still change before the production release. So now let's just create a schedule to show you how it looks like. Now, what will be an easy way to get there? Now, there is this Cropster symbol up there. Now, let's see what happens when I click on this. It forwards me to the Cropster Caesar web account of this group, forwards me to the dashboard of the group that I'm administering here, and I go straight away to schedules. And what I would like to do is just create a quick schedule on this Gießen machine. Again, for you guys, this is a functionality presented in the Roast Plus package and above. So if you're curious to check it out, feel free to tell your account manager that you would like to go for a free trial of it. We'll just quickly schedule a few batches. Say we do 4 batches, and we add them. So they've now been drafted. I want to publish them, which means I will send them out to the roasting intelligence, and I return here. And now what you also see here at the bottom is this synchronize button. The roasting intelligence is already pretty smart in synchronizing information and pushing and pulling information from and to the server between batches and after restart. But if, for example, your production manager schedules a roast on the go while you are already roasting and you want to make sure that no information is missed, you can still hit this synchronize button, and it will fetch this information that I've just created in an instance into your roasting environment, and you can just hop through, and those are all 4 equal batches for simplicity right now, but you just click on it, it will load the information into the screen here, and you're basically good to go. Right. I think this should be it for the prepare roasting screen. There is one more thing in the preferences that I would like to show you, which is important for right now when we jump into a roast. So one thing is new in your preferences. So when you go to account and preferences, you will see a new entry here at the bottom called timer. Well, the entry existed, but the new entry is modulation timer. So as I said in the beginning, modulation timers basically collecting the information of drying phase, Maillard phase, and development time as proposed by different roast consultants has been put up on Cropster Caesar in our last release or the release before, I'm not sure. And now, of course, we also want to visualize this information in the roasting intelligence itself. So this will be enabled by default. I recommend you use it because it's just additional information, and you will soon see the way we present it. It's not distracting, it's supporting. So, but in case you want to disable it, it lives in here. Good. So let's start the roast. As I said, the action button is here down to the middle, very prominent for you to use. And here we go. Welcome to the RI4 screen within a roast, preview of which I've given you before. And I just want to give you a first off a quick insight into what is new and what's different. So again, real estate is being made much better use of. We got rid of the big fat comment buttons here to the right. Now, some of you might say this is important to have those big buttons because during a roast I need to, make those comments really quick. But we are very confident, based on our beta testers' information, that we found a good solution for that. So let's look at comments. First thing, right here on top, there's comment with the settings wheel. That's the first thing you should be reviewing, because we always aim to provide a slick and easy tool, but also provide for customization. Workflows are different. Not every roastery works the same. Not every roast machine works the same. Some roast machine collects this information for you, but not the other. So in here, what you see is you can select which comments you would like to track in general. So you see gas, air, color change, first crack, and second crack. And for this example, I have enabled those four, but let's just get rid of air tracking for right now. So I hit done, and this entry disappears here. Now, what you would use this for is you have, there's basically two possible setups that you can have with your machine to Cropster. One is through the Cropster connector, and the other one is through a plug-and-play connection. If you are on a plug-and-play connection, for example, I'm here on an exemplary Gießen machine, I believe. In my case, I automatically track gas here at the bottom and also the drum pressure. So for me, in this scenario, I have no necessity directly to use this this gas track. But in case I'm connected to a machine with the Cropster connector and gas is not collected for you automatically, then you should definitely enable this. And it's a it's a great and easy way of collecting this information. So let's say you put you want to put gas on 70. The button is I would say enabled, and then you can just add a gas comment as you were used to in the past. Now, what is so great about this is, in my example, as you can see in my reference curve in the background, I have not collected gas information as I'm on this automatic tracking. If you have tracked those single gas comments in your reference curve, and this is very important, this field here will always pre-fill with the next coming gas setting. So all you have to do, so if the next coming gas setting as per the reference would be 60, this will be pre-filled in for you. And all you have to do is to confirm. As you confirm, it will already show the next gas setting and so forth. So this should make it much more easier, so you don't have to return to your keyboard, but just confirm the value or adjust in case you do. So this is number one. And number two, regarding comments, is because you can see I did enable first crack and color change comments, but they're not appearing anywhere here. So to make this very intuitive and easy for you, we made it very, very simple to collect this information and how you do that is you simply click on the screen and this window pops up. This makes it first very easy for you to track the information at the spot, but on the other hand, it does not waste real estate here to the right for things that you only track once during a roast, which is color change and first crack usually. So as you can see here at the bottom, and this is a great example of the modulation chart, I have began to track the drying phase. Now with the color change button, I will just set this. It will calculate, because I stopped, I tracked this comment at 4:55. It sets the comment into the past and it begins to track the Maillard time of this roast and calculates it back to the future, into the past, I'm sorry. What do you see down here? The drying phase is highlighted green, the Maillard phase is highlighted yellow, and the development phase will be highlighted in a reddish tone. It's at the bottom, it's not distractive, but you always have it at hand. And after the slash, it shows you the information of the reference curve. So when you establish the reference curve, you had a drying time of only 3:50, and you have a development time of 5:13. Now, just to round this off, why should you be tracking this? Well, of course, the ratio between drying, Maillard, and development time gives you great insights, or I would say shows great correlations to the flavor and aromas that will end up in the cup, to how well the cup is developed, in how far you can pronounce acidity versus body and things like that. So the advantages are very obvious, I would say. But as usual with Cropster, we do not only provide information during a roast, we want to bring this into your roastery management and consistency tracking tool, which should be Cropster Caesar Online. So let me quickly return to the screen, and I have here an example where we've already tracked this information. So I pull up the well-known roast compare, which you guys should be using quite a lot, I hope. And here I have two roasts with different drying phases and Maillard phases and development time. And as you know, the roast compare is the central way of looking both at the roasting process, the curves, the events that happened, now also at the modulation, so at heat development and development of the coffee per se, and also the quality that arrives at the cup. So in this case, I have all this information at hand, and here at the bottom I can see, for example, the blue roast through this different modulation probably achieved a higher acidity level, and if this is something that I would like to achieve, I should mark this roast as a reference, which I already did. So just to give you a little bit more information on why this is so key to use. Good. Then let me look at my cheat sheets here. Yeah, great. So these are the most important things up to here, I would say. Except there is one thing. You will always also notice a change on the rate of rise. For many of you, the rate of rise has probably become a very central tool to track consistency and to check if you are on target. If you need more information, let us know. We have pretty thorough information outlined for you. Now the rate of rise is always looking at a temperature right now and compares it to a temperature in the past to be able to calculate the rise at this very moment. As it's looking at a point in the past, there is a mathematical lag happening to some extent, but we have now, with a couple of experts, reviewed the way we calculate the rate of rise. So we've made adaptations to the interval that we're looking at. So I would say the growth interval of the temperatures, and as well as the smoothing factor. So to be able to give you guys a comprehensive curve to look at, we need to smooth the curve to some extent so it's not too noisy. And I think we now have found a very great equilibrium to make the rate to record and track the rate of rise in an even more real-time way, which gives you even better ways of looking at the roast and understanding how heat development is going on, how fast it's growing, how consistent you are at the current roast. If you're interested in the math and information on the background, please let us know through the questions window, and we will provide you with that. Good. Fantastic. So yeah, I think we've covered the big bulk of it. The reason why the temperatures disappeared here at the right is simply because I'm on a demo roast, so don't bother about that. With those buttons here at the bottom, as I said, they just work as a as like in a media player. So if you want to stop the roast, which happened automatically in my demo, just hit the stop button and confirm down here. And this has also slightly changed. So the save roast information window has moved here to the left. Other things are not so critically different, I would say. In the near future, I think you will see a roast value 2 option, possibly here to make differentiation between ground and whole bean color values. And when you are done, you would hit the save button and can move on with the next roast. So far, I think this is the bulk of what is in the Roasting Intelligence beta as it's being tested right now. And of course, development never stops here at Cropster. So usually every 2 months you will see new things coming out of our labs, I would say, for you guys to use. And so I think we should anticipate possibly some of your questions that you might be having before going into questions that my colleague Jonas has recorded here. So I will return to my presentation. And bring up a couple of questions that I thought you might be having. So when will this awesome thing be released? We are planning on releasing Roasting Intelligence 4 at some point towards mid or end of June. If you are coming to World of Coffee Amsterdam, you can get an even closer look at Roasting Intelligence 4. We're pretty confident to release it shortly thereafter. But as it is a beta and as we're still receiving a lot of information from our beta testers, there is a chance that we might also update things until then. So, but I would say mid or end of June is a good day to calculate with. How will you be notified about the actual release of Roasting Intelligence 4? We plan to do a gradual rollout. As you know, this is a very, very central tool for you to use. And coming back to the beginning of my presentation, reliability is at the very top of the things that we need to make sure of. So once the beta is proven reliable and good, as per beta testers, we would probably roll it out to another batch of users, give the tool to them for some time make sure that there are no hiccups with them, and then add yet another batch and improve the batches of users that we roll it out to with every time we do so. And you will probably be at the beginning notified through email, but there might as well be a prompt in the existing RI that you can now move to Roasting Intelligence for. As I said in the beginning, will I be able to change from RI4 back to RI3? Yes, we want to make sure that if you have team members that are not yet acquainted with RI4, that they can use in their known, use the RI in their known environment. And this is a new thing that we will be doing going forward regarding our roast client whenever we make a major update, at least. Will support for RI3 be turned off at some point, and when? The plan is yes. Of course, we're confident and that RI4 is definitely a better version of the RI3. So alongside this gradual rollout, at some point, we will want to make sure that everybody migrated to Roasting Intelligence 4 and is happy with using it. It's hard to foresee the time until when this will be accomplished, but yeah, we will definitely make sure that everybody and every one of you is familiar with RI4. Before turning off RI3, there's a good chance that even if everyone is on RI4, we will maintain RI3 for some time, just in case, to make sure. If the question is when, yeah, the point in time is a little bit difficult. We're probably looking at fall or winter this year, but again, we will make sure you're made aware of that time. What's coming further down the line? Well, there's a couple of things we already have in planning. Some things have already moved into our development cycles. Some things are still a raw idea. But we are definitely looking at some things that of which we know that they are interesting to you. We're looking at providing roast controls, so ability to control gas settings from within the roasting intelligence. This is a very bold statement, so just for you guys to understand, this depends on the very roast machine that you use and the hardware setup, but this is clearly something that we're looking into. We're also looking into making back-to-back roasting easier, so that when you completed one roast, you can, from the end screen, right away start another one. That is a workflow that we would like to improve. Yeah, other ideas include tracking information between roasts, includes ability to target roasts better during the roast, and things like that. But yeah, I would not like to prompt you with too many ideas of ourselves. I would much rather invite you to submit questions either right now and or join the survey, which will pop up right after this webinar is over. And this is also how you guys can contribute with feedback. So as I said in the beginning, all our development lives and dies basically with your guys' feedback on what you would find useful, what you think might be missing, or how a perfect world could look like. And we will always listen to you guys. We will sort it, we will prioritize it. We will discuss it with other industry leaders and beta testers, and then try to bring it or not into our development cycle. But it's very important for us that you share feedback with us. And this is now also, I guess, my time to look at the questions that Jonas has consolidated for me. So let me take a look at that. Seconds. Okay. Yes, can you give me your screen just for a second, please. Thank you. Okay, great. So let me see. How do I select which worker is roasting in the, it says in the next roast screen, but I guess it should be the kind of like prepare roasting screen, which I have open right here. That's a good question. That's very, very fair. So in RI3, you were able to select profile, green inventory, and worker here from the top. Right now, it will be here in the under following the production button, and here at the bottom, you would at the bottom, sorry, at the top, of course, you would select the worker who is performing his roast. Why is it inside there? Because we prompt many of our users to use the scheduling functionality simply because it's so very useful and time-saving. And you can schedule a roast with a worker directly assigned to it, which is why it lives here under this production window. Okay, yeah, one user asked why I didn't click first crack. That's fair. There's coming back to the modulation chart, I can just quickly follow that scheme. So of course, I should have mentioned that of course first crack is the trigger to tracking development time. I maybe just skipped that part because it has always been like that also in the existing RI. So if you follow me again down here at the modulation chart, tracking drying right now, and then let's just assume that we enter MER time, and it begins to track that. By the way, of course, there's also like a hard clock timer here at the bottom to track the seconds of MER time. And then now let's just pretend we're in first crack. So I just click again and I make a first crack comment, which then again triggers development time and introduces development time ratio here at the bottom. So it swaps out MER time tracker with development time tracker. So yeah, thanks for this prompt. Yeah, one user had the very interesting question about what about compatibility of Cropster Roasting Intelligence with roaster manufacturer user software to ease the use of two software programs at the same time. I think that's a little bit was hidden in that comment that I made about we make further integrations and we plan to establish roast controls. So we have very strong partners with many roast machine manufacturers out there, some of which we might proactively collaborate and work on I would say, one-tool solution to create a roast profiler that is able to control the machine and do what Cropster has always done, which is provide accurate, reliable information, which you then embed in your roastery environment. And the works on the gas controls will be the beginning of looking into those things. There are different technical possibilities to engage in this, but if you follow our updates button here and follow us on social media, then you will surely be made aware of any integrations that we build and any progress on this. There is one more question. It's a little longer, just reading through it. Okay, I think there is a specific question to usage on a lowering machine, which is a little bit detailed. Jonas, if you can then please track down who submitted the comments, then I think we will get back directly. That's probably the best way of doing this. Are there still any further questions that we should be looking at or discussing while we are here? Now would be a great time to submit those, and otherwise, yeah, you're of course invited to submit your questions through the survey right after. So there's something coming in, so just a little bit of patience. Feel free to submit those things. In the meanwhile, the survey after I click close on this webinar will be asking you about please to rate this webinar on how useful the content was. Which topics you would like to have discussed in this channel in the future. So that gives us a little bit of a better idea of the topics that are interesting to you, things that we should be updating you on, and of course comments on Roasting Intelligence 4. So don't be shy in submitting anything of what you would like to wish for in the Roasting Intelligence 4. Okay, new questions. On the computer side, same requirements to use Roasting Intelligence 4 compared to RI3. I cannot solidly confirm this, but I'm very confident that this is the case because the backend is similar or same right now. So it should be the same, but I will get back to you personally and confirm this with you guys. Is there plans for a Linux release? So there's good news. It's the RI has always worked on Linux. So even if you want to use a Raspberry Pi, that's even a setup that we have for our own events and shows. So that should work pretty fine. I want to confirm again that RI4 is able to do this, but I'm knowing our developers, I'm 100% sure that this will be an option for you to use. Can you still show rate of rise of the other probe inputs as well as beam temperature? Yes, of course. I'm sorry if I didn't mention this. So in my view here, I only show beam temperature rate of rise to not distract you guys. But if I wanted to show the exhaust temperature rate of rise, all I have to do is click enable this, and then of course you will be able to see the exhaust temperature rate of rise as well. What is the crops to response time after using the feedback button? That's a very interesting one. What I can say to this is that in the past half year, we have hired two support people, professional support people, that only and exclusively handle those tickets. It's their job to respond as quickly as possible. Two, because we have two offices, one in Sacramento, one here in Austria. So we can bridge the gap between the different time zones. There might even be another support person covering time zones farther east in the not too far future. And what would be our response time? I would say during normal business hours, as the tickets pop up, they will be prioritized and then worked off as quickly as possible. So it's usually within the matter of, so our promise is within a matter of a few hours, usually when I would say tickets come in with an urgent tag or something like that, which you hopefully don't misuse, but if you have really like an urgent issue, mark it as such in the subject line, and this will then, I guess, bump up the priority, and we will get back to you immediately. Is it possible to cancel first crack? Yes, you can simply delete the comment. So links, roast comments, just delete the first crack comment, and that, however, would then stretch Maillard time to the end of the roast, so you would have to delete color change as well if you don't want to create false Maillard time to track. But yes, you can delete that, and that might also be something that we even update in the future, the ability to update existing comments. Good. Okay, there's one or two more longer questions which I would like to address then personally, I guess. And yeah, I think now it's also time for a little bit of credits and outro, if you guys don't have any further immediate questions. So first of all, I hope you like this presentation and that you will join our future webinars. This webinar will be edited and uploaded to YouTube, where you can already find, if you search for Cropster Roast Starter webinar, you can already find a fantastic webinar by my colleague Devin in the US, who, if you're a Cropster Roast Starter user, can get a very, very comprehensive idea of what is in that package. And you will find this webinar in the same space. And yeah, I think it's also time for some credits. So I hope you like the RI4. I personally love it. So I think our design team and development team did a fantastic job to build this tool. Our marketing department helped me a lot to launch this and communicate this in a solid way. So this is kind of like internal credits for those watching. And of course, big credits go out to all the users out there that have submitted information. Let us take a look over their shoulder and understand what's important in Roastery for roast tracking. And last but not least, I have a message here. Thanks to Rick Rosendahl and Drop Coffee in Sweden for sharing the love about this webinar in their social media channels. So big thumbs up. Again, every one of you is invited to share this publicly and let us know what you think. I want to thank you guys for joining in today. I hope you liked it, and I would appreciate to see you again in the near future in this channel. Thank you and goodbye, and please do not forget to use the survey at the end of this webinar. Thanks.